think about this, right? You've been shuffling the cards, right? Cards have been shuffled. Take them, hold them behind your back, and let's continue to mix them. And I'm gonna put a timer as you mix them, okay? I'm gonna put a timer here, and the second you hear that timer go off, you will instantly stop. That is important, because we wanna clock that specific order at that time. So I will start it now, and you're mixing the cards, and as you do that, name any random card that pops into your mind. Make it as random as you possibly can.
The 4 of clubs.
The 4 of clubs. There we go. Keep mixing. The second this goes off, you're gonna stop. No more mixing. Okay, and there we go, that's it. So bring the cards forward. And then we're gonna place the cards right over there. Let's pause this. And this is what I wanna do. Technically, all you have to do, right, is, what was the card you named?
The 4 of clubs.
The 4 of clubs. So if we were to just spell 4 clubs from the exact spot that you stop mixing the cards, we would get to the 4 of clubs.
I don't believe you.
I don't want to touch the cards. You mix, you shuffle, you did everything. Let's spell F,
right.
one per card, yeah. F,
F, O, U, R,
R,
and then C or
C,
of, okay.
C,
C,
L, U, B, S.
Now that's some BS. I don't know what's going on here.
Here, let's try this.
Okay.
Take the cards, put them behind your back. Let's try it again. I'll put a different timer. Let's do this. How's that?
Sure. Yeah.
And there you go. Once again, you already know the drill. In your mind, you just imagine a deck of cards and pick one. Which one do you want?
The 3 of diamonds.
The 3 of diamonds. Are you sure that's the one you want?
Yeah.
Perfect. The second you hear that timer, you will stop mixing those cards. And there we go. Stop.
Okay.
Stop mixing the cards. Again, let's you can put them face up.
Oh, face up.
Yeah.
Would it work if I put them face down?
Put them face down. It's up to you. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
All right.
Face
all right.
down.
Face down.
What did we do last time?
We spelled it out.
So what card did you say? So 3 diamonds. Do the same thing, please. Because it, yeah.
H R E E
D
D I A. How do you spell diamond?
A
M
M O
O
N
N
D. There it is.
Oh,
3 of diamonds.
frick. You. And I could have done it face up.
You chose.
You didn't touch the deck.
I didn't.
I named the card as I was holding them. Am I the magician here? Am I the real magician?
Hey, my name's Lloyd and welcome to Maxim. Myself and Murphy's Magic are so proud to present this app to you. I think you're all going to have incredible fun, not just playing with it, but mostly performing it, because this is a powerhouse performance piece that goes completely undetected under the eyes of your audience, but it makes it feel like you can do probably some of the most miraculous feeling card magic that you'll ever perform. Maxim is an app. It's a covert app. And the difference between a covert app and other apps is that a majority of magic apps will be focused on the screen. So it could be that things print and appear and you pretend to pull them off the screen, or the screen's the focus. With Maxim, in the eyes of the audience, and actually when you're performing, if you choose certain options, the app, for all intents and purposes, has nothing to do with the effect whatsoever. And the disconnect from the audience's point of view is that if you said to them, I did that with an app, they would ask you, how? What's that got to do with this trick? So by covert app, it means to the audience, there's no way that app could even help you with what happened, all right? My good friend Javier Fuenmayer, who you all know and love from Murphy's, he's probably the best teacher in the world in magic, at least in my opinion. He's going to take you through all the details that you need to know in order to start performing Maxim. So I'm going to pass you over to Javier. Please enjoy Maxim. I'll be back at the end to tell you a bit about the history of crediting and to give you an outro.
Before we get into the Maxim app, I do want to mention that throughout this video, we're going to be using an Apple iPhone So if you have an Android or any other device, and when we ask you to take a screenshot, the way you do it is a little bit different, and maybe you don't know how, just do a simple Google search with your phone model, and then Google will let you know. The things we're going to be doing are taking a screenshot on your phone as well as saving a note on your phone. So make sure you know how to do that. And once you do, we can move on to the instructions. So let's dive right into Maxim. You'll notice that right at the top, you have a big button that says Perform. We're gonna leave that one for last. We're gonna start with the Stacks section. So if we click on the Stacks, you'll see it says Stacks right on the top. You'll have a plus sign. That's so that you can create as many stacks as you want. And underneath, I have mnemonica and new deck order. So if I click on mnemonica, you'll see the whole stack is right here. If I wanted to delete mnemonica, I could just click the little trash bin and it would get deleted. To change the order of your stack is very easy. All you have to do is grab a hold of any card and you'll see that you can now move it into any position that you want. Once you let go, that card will now be at that position. And you can do that with all of those cards. Let's say you want to add a new stack. All you have to do is press the plus button and it'll ask you to enter a name. We're going to call it Javier Stack and we'll click add. Now you'll notice that you have your new stack. You want to click on the little pencil that will open up your stack. And now all you have to do is click on the suit first and then your value. So if I wanted to put the ace of clubs, I would press the clubs, which is already selected, and then ace, and you'll notice that it shows up underneath. The next card, let's say it's going to be the ace of hearts, so I'll click H for hearts, and then ace, and it will show up. After you have put your 52 cards in your new stack, then you're going to be able to rearrange it into whatever order you want in case you want to tweak it. Remember, you can have as many stacks as you want, and you'll then have an option to select which one of those you want to use during your performances. Before we go into the static outs, I want to just make sure you understand exactly what that means, and that is the position of the card. So it's always going to be exactly the same. Let's say your card is at the top, it'll just tell you to turn over the top card. Or if it's 4 cards from the top, it may tell you to spell the word luck because it has 4 letters in that word. So those are the static outs. This icon right here is the one that will get you into your static outs. And if we take a look, you'll see that I have the 4 of clubs, but that's because I'm using mnemonica. You will have whichever stack you're using. What will be constant between both of our screens is the number 1 because it's telling you what the app will do if their selection happens to be at the position 1. So here, all that's really important is that number 1 in the middle of the card. The text underneath that card is going to let you know what you have to do to get to the card that they named. In this case, if their card is at the 1 position, it will tell you turn over the top card. If we go to the second card, it'll tell you to burn the top and bottom cards and turn over the top card. For now, we just want to show you the different possibilities and also how you can edit your outs. So if we go to number 5, you'll see that it says spell magic. But let's say I want to spell something else, a different 5-letter word. I'm going to click the pencil to edit. It is important that when you're tweaking a spelling out, you want to make sure that you keep the word that's going to be spelled all in capital letters. That is going to let Maxim know that that is what it needs to display for you. So if I want to tweak, let's say, the word magic for house, which has the same amount of letters, I don't know why you would want to do that, but let's say you do, we're going to click done, and once we go back, you'll see that underneath the 5th card, it's going to say spell house. Now we're going to go over to the next card and you'll see that it says spell magic and then dot next card. So this one is technically using the same spelling from the previous one. It's just going to be the card after. So if you want to make that match, you just go in it, and all you need to change is that word magic for whichever word you use, in our case, house. What's important so that Maxim knows to let you know that it's going to be the next card is you have to have a period after the word you want to be spelled, followed by next card. This is going to let Maxim know that it'll be the next card. We're going to keep going through and showing you that if you wanted to change the spell alakazam to something else, you could. Or if you don't want to use a spelling and you have any other way of getting to the number 8, you can just input that right there. I'm going to keep going through, and for instance, here we have unlucky number 13. Let's say you want to change unlucky number 13 to something else like baker's dozen, which is also 13. They usually add an extra one. Well, you can just go in there and change it to that. So now instead of telling you unlucky 13, it'll just say baker's dozen for you, and then you know that it's going to be at the 13th card. I should also mention that if you want to provide yourself with more or less information in whichever instructions you have, you can tweak that. So let's say I want to change this from saying power of the number 23 known as the 23 enigma, because I already know what that is. Let's say I just wanted to say 23 enigma. So I just put it to that, and we go back, and now Maxim will only display 23 enigma to me. Let's say that you really like the 16 out, which is spell, this will be my card. And you just love this out. It could be any out, but let's say this one you really like. In order to let Maxim know that you want to prioritize this out if it's available to you, you want to click on the edit, and then you'll notice that there's a heart. That's going to be your favorite. So if you click on that, Maxim will now know if the card is at the 16th position to use this out over all the others. Let's say that you finished your static outs and you really love them and you want to share them with your friends. You can share them in the Facebook group, or you can just save them and have them on the side. Very easy. You press the export button and Maxim will create a text file that you can copy and paste into your Notes app. That way, you can reset to default outs, and anytime you want to use your tweaked static outs that you just did, you just click on import and paste from your Notes app the text that Maxim created for you when you exported it. Once you click import, your whole static outs will update to your previously saved file. Soon, we're going to have a Maxim file that you're going to be able to very easily export and import and share with the community. Now let's say that you have made some tweaks, but you didn't like it or you messed them up somehow and you want to go back to the default settings. Well, there's one button. I know you already saw it, so just go ahead, click it, and now you're back to factory settings. You'll notice a little contacts icon on the left side. Those are your personal outs. So if you're going to perform to a specific person, you can input very specific information about that person, and then Maxim will try to use that information as a reveal, whether it's their name, their birthday, maybe the car that they drive, whatever you input there, Maxim will try to use it. I do want to mention that these outs will only work if you perform from this section, which I will show you. But first we have to add a spectator. So we're going to do that by clicking the plus sign, and then we're going to put the spectator's name. In this case, let's say they're called Pepe Loco. I don't know why, but that is their name. Pepe Loco, we add, and now you'll see that under info, you have a contact. When we click it, you'll see that Maxim has already generated 3 outs. But it's not really 3, it's actually 6, because they can work from the top of the deck or the bottom of the deck. And that is just from the person's name. If we want to take it a little step further, let's say we now want to add more information about our spectator. We're going to click on the plus sign and you'll see that you have 3 different categories that you can input different types of information. You can have words, you can have numbers, or you can have a specific date. So if we go into the words, you'll see that it's asking us to put a label. Let's say we want to input the car that they drive. So I'm going to put car make. That way I know the brand of the car. So we will do Honda and add. Now, if we look back, Maxim knows that Pepe Loco owns a Honda. We can take it even further and add the model, and we just put car model, and now we put that it's a Civic. And now Maxim knows that Pepe Loco has a Honda Civic. Let's say we now want to add their birthday. So what we do is we click the plus again, and we'll click on the timer. The label, you're going to put birthday, and we'll say that Pepe Loco's birthday is June 9th. We'll add it, and when we go back, you'll notice that we have the birthday there, plus their star sign. So Maxim is also figuring out what their star sign is and using it as an out. So here you can see we have 7 different possible outs that Maxim can use, and it took us less than 2 minutes. There's only one more section for us to check out here. So we're gonna click on the add a number, and let's say you know that you're gonna perform to a police officer and his precinct is 32. So you can put police 32, and now Maxim is going to use that number as an out as well. So think of these categories, think of your spectators, and think of all the possible information that you can input so that you can use that as a reveal in your performances. Now, let's say you want to perform to Pepe Loco or anybody in your contact list. Remember, you can have as many people as you want. You're going to click on them, and in order to use all of these outs, the only way that Maxim is going to utilize them is if you press that play button right below Pepe Loco's name. So if I press that, now you would be performing Maxim, utilizing all of those outs for that specific spectator. I don't have to tell you guys about the I, those are the instructions, you're already here, and the F is for the Facebook group. So do yourself a favor, join the Facebook group so you can keep up to date with all the latest ways in which you can perform Maxim. Not only that, you can also share all of your ideas on the forum. Now we're gonna go into our settings. So if you see, it is very easily categorized into 6 different sections so that you can very easily tweak anything you may want just by looking at the title. We're gonna start off with the input. So if I press the plus sign, you'll see that I'm gonna have the option to select different ways in which I can input that card to Maxim. We're gonna start off with the basic input, which is just selecting the value and then the suit. And that's going to let Maxim know which card you're trying to input. Now, you can also below that notice that there's an enable sound button, and if we press that, you'll see that 2 other options appear. You'll have a sound and a timer. So if we click on sound, you'll see that you can select a notification or timer sound. And what that means is this. This is the timer sound, and that's the notification sound. So all it is just a timer sound, or as if you just received a message or a notification. The timer underneath is just going to let Maxim know in how many seconds you want that sound to be played, whether it's the notification or the timer sound. These will all make sense later when you start learning how to perform with Maxim. So for the basic method, as you know, you're just simply pressing the value and then pressing the suit. The quick input will save you one little tap, and all you have to do is press the value and then swipe into the direction of the suit. And there's nothing for you to memorize because, as you can see, you have a little crib or a cheat sheet that's showing you exactly which way to swipe. So if we swipe up, we have clubs. If we swipe right, we have hearts. Down is spades, and left is diamonds. So all you have to do is press the value and swipe in the direction of that suit to input that card into Maxim. Again, if you want to enable the sound, you'll have the option to use either the timer or notification sound, and you also have the option to choose how many seconds you want that notification to come through. We're gonna go back into the input here and go into the swipes input. Before we show you how it works, let's take a look at how that input looks in real time. Here we're gonna input the 3 of clubs, and those swipes are letting Maxim know that it's the 3 of clubs, as you can see above. So as you can see, we're just swiping on the screen, and that's letting Maxim know which card it is. And it's very easy. 3 simple swipes is going to let Maxim know which card you're trying to input, and the swipes are just going to be up, down, left, or right. Let's go over how you're gonna let Maxim know which card it is you're trying to input with just those 3 simple swipes. It's very simple. The first swipe is going to let Maxim know the suit, and the second 2 swipes will let Maxim know the value. So the first swipe, you already know which direction to swipe if you remember the quick input. If we go up, it's going to be club. If we go to the right, it's going to be heart, down spades, left diamonds. Very simple. The next 2 swipes are going to let Maxim know which value it is they have selected. The easiest way to think about this is using a clock. As you know, right on top you have the number 12, on the right you have 3, down 6, left 9. Okay? Now, if we divide our clock like this, you'll notice that we now have 4 different sections. We again have up, left, down, and right. So the first swipe is going to let Maxim know which section we want to go to. So let's say I want to go to the section that has the 11, 12, and 1. All I would have to do is swipe up, and now Maxim knows that I'm utilizing these numbers here. So the next swipe is going to let Maxim know which of those values we're going to select. So if I swipe up, we're selecting the 12. If I swipe left, I'm selecting the 11. If I swipe right, I'm selecting the 1. And the same thing happens. Let's start over, and now let's say we want to select the heart. So we're going to first swipe to the right, okay? Now Maxim knows that we want to use the 2, the 3, and the 4. So again, if we swipe another right, now we're selecting the 3. But if instead we swipe up, we're selecting that 2. And again, if we swipe down, we would be selecting that 4. And the same is true for all of the different sections. So as you can see, it is very easy to input a card into Maxim. The first swipe is going to be for the suit, and then the next 2 swipes is going to let Maxim know which value it is you're trying to select. And it's very easy to remember the values because they follow the clock. It goes all the way up to 12, which is the queen. So Jack is going to be 11, and 12 is going to be the queen. Now you may be asking yourself, what about the king, which is number 13? So very, very simple. you're going to again select the 12 because let's just say that's where the chord cards are. They're in this top section. So we're going to go into the top cards and then we're just going to swipe down to let it know that it's going to be a king. So that's the only little irregularity that you have to remember. It is that a king, you're going to swipe down after you've already been on that top section. Now we're going to give you another example, so try to follow along before I actually give you the answer. So if we were trying to input the 6 of clubs, where would you swipe first? Hopefully you said up because that's going to be selecting the club. And then how are you going to let Maxim know about the value? You should probably be selecting that section where that 6 is at, and then you want to swipe towards the 6. So the 6 of clubs should have been swipe up for the club, and then 2 down for that 6. So can you do the 10 of spades? Okay? Right, so we should be swiping towards the spades, and then we should be going into the 9 section. So that's going to be a left, and then we want to go up to the 10. So we're going to swipe up to get to the 10. Now that you know how the swiping inputs work, we can get into what does input speed and vibrations mean under this input method. Let's talk about input speed. As you can see here, I have set 3 seconds. That's basically the number. It's going to be how many seconds it's going to take, or Maxim is going to wait, I should say, until it fully inputs that card into Maxim after you have completed all of your swipes. So let's say you have done your 3 swipes. Maxim is going to wait that number of seconds before it actually inputs that card into Maxim. I should also mention that if for some reason you were to hesitate in between your swipes, that's going to be also the same amount of seconds that Maxim will wait for the next swipe before it resets all of your swipes. Then the button underneath is going to be the vibration setting, which is there if you turn it on, Maxim will vibrate and let you know that the input has been inputted. That way you know for sure that you have done a correct input into Maxim. Now let's go over the stacks category. So if we open it up, you'll see that you can select whichever stack you want. So all of your stacks that you have previously inputted into the stacks tab of your app will show up here, and you'll be able to use them as you like. Underneath, you have another little button that says deck cutting. That is in case you want to allow your spectators to shuffle or cut the cards during your performance. If you do turn on that section, you're going to have to let Maxim know either the top or bottom card, which is why underneath you have input, and you can choose whether you want to use the bottom card or the top card in case you're using maybe a marked deck. Underneath the input section, you're going to have a cut card first option. All that says is, do you want to let Maxim know the selected card or the top or bottom card first? So if you turn that on, the first card you will be inputting will not be the card that they are thinking of or the card that they named. Instead, it will be the bottom or top card. That's going to let Maxim know the specific order of that deck. Inside Dynamic Out, you will see that you have a whole bunch of different things that you can toggle on or off. It's very, very simple. If I turn off the enable minutes, all that means is that Maxim will not use the time. So let's say it is 2:12 currently. It is not going to use the minutes 12 as an out. That's all that means. Now, if you do turn it on, you'll notice that underneath you have an option that says set minutes. That's going to be how many minutes ahead that dynamic out will show. The example again is if it's currently 12, so 12 minutes, and it says 1 is not going to display 12, is really going to display 1 after, or however minutes you have set after. That is in case you want to have a presentation that's going to take over a minute or two, you can have Maxim show you, instead of the current minute 12, is going to show you, in my case, it'll show 13, but if we change it to 2, it'll actually show you 14. If you want to enable playing cards, that means, do you want Maxim to spell out to the card that they name? So then you want to enable that. You'll see that if I turn that off, all of the options turn off. Now if I turn it back on again, you'll notice that we have 2 of spades, or the 2 of spades, or spade 2, or 2 spades. Those are basically all of the different ways in which Maxim can spell out a card. And some people may like some other than others, so you have the option to select all the different ways in which a card can be spelled. So it's not just with the 2 of spades, it's with every single card. The 2 of spades is just the example. Now we're going to go into the peak section. Inside, you'll notice you'll have a notification toggle that you can turn on or off, and below you'll have a delay. That is going to be how many seconds it's going to take until that notification gets shown to you. And the notification is going to come through in the form of a normal notification, as you would an email, text message, or a message from one of your social media apps. You'll also have another toggle to turn on or off an audio peak feature. And all that is Maxim will speak out the out that you need to do. Of course, if you have it on speaker and you don't have an earpiece or a headphone, it's going to say it out loud, so your spectators may hear it, so you may not want to enable that unless you're going to have a secret earpiece or just your regular headphone. Below that, you have a display, which is going to let you choose either basic, which is going to have absolutely nothing, or screenshot, which then, if you do select that, underneath, it'll give you the option to select the screenshot. And for now, I'm going to click on that, select, go into my photo library, and use a screenshot, as you can see here, of the timer. To take a screenshot of your timer app is incredibly easy. Just open up your timer and do the screenshot. If you don't know how to do a screenshot with your phone, a simple Google search with your current phone will show you how you can take a screenshot. Using the timer screenshot is going to make sense, and you'll see why we're using it once we start getting into how to perform Maxim. For now, just know that's where you can input whichever screenshot you want. Under translations, basically that's where you're going to be selecting your language. So if you want to perform in any other language that you see here, we have English, Portuguese, German, Hebrew, Dutch, Spanish, and also custom. In case yours isn't there, you can click on it, and then you'll have the option to customize all of the outs to your specific language. On the user tab, you'll find your web token. You'll also be able to delete your account or log out if you wish to switch from one device to another. These static outs, as you will see, are pretty much self-explanatory, but we're going to go through each one so that you know that you can perform with whatever out Maxim throws at you. So we're going to go into our static outs, and we're greeted with the first position. Now remember, the static outs are going to be referring to the position that the card is in, not the actual card itself. So right now I have mnemonica selected. That's why we're seeing the 4 of clubs. But what we're really interested is not the card, but the number right in the center, that 1. So whenever their card is at the first position, Maxim is going to tell you to turn over the top card. Okay, so very easy to do. You just turn over the top card and reveal it. Of course, you want to build it up. Maybe you've had your spectators cut, shuffle, or mix the cards as you do this. So you want to embellish and enhance the fact that the cards were mixed and they're in a completely random order. How crazy would it be that the card that they freely named as they were mixing and cutting and shuffling the cards would land on top? Then once you have that build up, you get the reveal, and then you should have a very nice reaction. We're going to move on to the second out, which is going to be burn the top and bottom cards and then turn over the top card. Once again, what you're doing is maybe you had your spectators shuffle and mix, and to make things even fairer, almost like you would in a card game, you have them burn the top and bottom cards. Now, if you have them burn them into the middle of the deck, just know you will have to rearrange your deck and bring it back into stack. Another way in which you can have them burn the cards is just to put them under a drink or under something or off to the side. That way you can very easily reset. On the third position, once we go here, you'll see that it says burn 2 cards from top and bottom, and then you'll turn over the top card. So once you do that, remember, you want to build up before the reveal, but once you burn the 2 top card and bottom cards, the next card you turn over will be their card. Moving on to the next one, we'll see that it says spell luck. So very simply, you just spell L-U-C-K and their card will be there. If we go on to the next one, which will be position 5, it'll say spell magic. Once again, you spell the word and the card will be at the last letter. But now when we move on to position 6, you'll see that it also says spell magic and then it says next card. Now that's how it shows up on your static outs. But the actual visual cue that you will receive will be the word magic with an exclamation mark. Remember, the exclamation means the next card or deal this card, okay? And then the card will be there. For example, if we were to name the 6 of diamonds and we would put it into the app, Maxim is going to tell me to spell magic and it's going to have the exclamation mark. So we will do M-A-G-I-C and then the exclamation mark is the reveal. Moving on to position 7, it says think of a number between 1 and 10 or just simply say that 7 is your lucky number. So you can go with just saying 7 is your lucky number and then when you deal to it, their card will be there. Or you can try to utilize a verbal force of the number 7. As magicians, we know that if you ask somebody to think of a number between 1 and 10, 7 is the most likely one that is named. You can test your luck there. You can also enhance the chances of hitting that 7 by telling them that most people go for 3, which is really the second most named number, which then will leave 7 right there for them to just name. But again, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, just say that 7 is your lucky number, deal to it, and you'll have a perfect hit. Moving on to 8, you'll notice that once again, we have a spell alakazam, and I would like to remind you that at any time, you can click on the little pencil dot and change the out to anything at all that you like. And if there's one that you really, really like, you can just press the heart and now it's going to be in your favorites. So 8 is spelling alakazam, 9 is spell lucky card, 10 is spell lucky card, and then we reveal the next card. Then we have 11 spell abracadabra. For 12, we have spell abracadabra, and then the next card. For number 13 is a little bit different because now it's going to tell you unlucky number 13. And as you know, there's even a Friday the 13th movie. The number 13 is always correlated with bad luck, so you can use that as part of your presentation to reveal their card at the 13th position. Number 14 is going to be almost the same. It's going to be unlucky 13 with an exclamation mark, which will be the next card. And then we'll move on to 15, which is spell how did you do that? Very, very simple. You spell one card for each letter, and on the last letter, you'll have your hit. 16 is also a spelling card. It's going to have you spell this will be my card, and you'll have a hit. Moving on to 17, which by the way, you can use this out for pretty much any number at all that you want. If you don't like an out, feel free to use this one, which is you time them for 17 seconds. Okay, so in the context of the routine, you would tell them that you're putting on a timer and they are to shuffle the cards behind their back, under the table, or something, and when the timer goes off, they are to stop. Okay, so what you tell them is that, well, what I didn't tell you is for how long I put the timer. And I actually set the timer to exactly 17 seconds. So you've been mixing the cards behind your back this entire time. If you count 17, which is the exact amount of time that you were mixing those cards behind you, your card will be there. And again, you can use this out at any point because Maxim will tell you the location of that card for every single card. On 18, we'll see that it says 20/34 next card. To do the 20/34 is very, very simple. All you have to do is have them think of a number in between 20 and 30. It doesn't matter which number. In our case, let's say 25. You're gonna have them deal down 25 cards, the number that they're thinking of. They don't have to tell you, they can do this in their mind. Once they've dealt the 25 cards, you have them pick up that pile, okay? It's important that it's the same pile, and then you have them add both of their single digits. So in our case, 25, 2 plus 5, 7. And then from that dealt pile, they will deal the 7 cards, or their total. Once they get to that number, it'll be the next card, which brings us to 19, which is going to be the same thing, the 20/34. Again, all you have to do is have them think of a number between 20 and 30, deal down to that number, pick up the dealt pile, and add those 2 digits together that made up their initial number. And once they deal to that new number, their card will be there. Moving on to 20, you'll just have to spell, I believe this is my card, and their card will be there. For 21, it's going to be another spelling, which is, I believe this is my card, with an exclamation mark, which means the reveal will be afterwards. For number 22, we have to give a huge thanks to Michael Murray. So thank you so much for the amazing idea to use this word, to spell incomprehensibilities, which just so happens to be the longest word in the English language in common usage, which if you don't know how to spell this word, that's one way in which you can get your spectators to find the word. You can just tell them, I don't know, go ahead and Google longest English word in common usage, and you will see that is the first word that comes up at the top. The beautiful thing is that it means impossible to comprehend, which perfectly matches what they're about to see. This is actually way easier to spell than you may think. In fact, close your eyes and give it a try, and I'm sure you're going to surprise yourself. But just in case, I encourage you to follow along with them. Spell along with them or count silently just to make sure that they're properly spelling it. If you feel like maybe they won't know how to spell it, just have them Google it or have them type it on their phone, on their notes app, and autocorrect will help them. Another great idea from Michael Murray that allows you to use on this very specific out is just to talk about all the different permutations and calculations that it would take in order to know where all the positions of those cards would be. It would take some sort of artificial intelligence to be able to figure that out. And so you tell them exactly that. You tell them to spell artificial intelligence, and it's going to be exactly 22. Now we're going to move on to 23, and I'm not talking about the movie with Jim Carrey. Though this is the same exact presentation employ that you can use if this out comes out, because it's going to tell you to use the power of the number 23, known as the 23 Enigma. There's a whole movie about this, but in short, what it is people tend to see the number 23 everywhere they go. Even when you try to not see it, it just shows up. So you can talk a little bit about this. You can even watch the movie, and then you'll have a very nice presentation whenever you get this out. For number 24 is going to be the same exact thing. You do your same presentation as 23. It's just going to be the next card. For number 25, it's incredibly easy. You just tell them that you time them for 25 seconds. For 26, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to tell them that you time them for 26 seconds. You can also say that exactly halfway through the deck is 26 and their card is going to be there. Another thing that you could do is have the screenshot that you took of your timer. You can actually set the seconds on the timer to 26. That way, when this situation shows up, you can show them the screenshot and show them that you actually had set the timer to 26. After 26, you're now going to start seeing the same outs just mirrored and reversed because you're going to be dealing through face up. So all of your outs will just be now in reverse. There's going to be two different outs for number 43 and number 44. What you're going to have to do is just do the 10 to 20 force. And what that is exactly the same as the 20-30 force. You're just going to do it from 10 to 20. Before we move on to the next section, I do want to mention again that feel free to tweak, change, and modify your outs to whatever it is you like. They're fully customizable. You can export them, you can import them, so feel free to play around with many different outs, see which work best for you, and compile a list that works perfectly for you. Dynamic outs are outs that are being generated on the spot utilizing either the current minutes, the date, or the card that has been selected to give you a out of this world out. Starting off with the minutes, Maxim is going to tell you to count to the current minutes. That's all you have to do. You just count to the number of minutes that it tells you. Now, under your settings app on dynamic outs, you will have the option to set time. That's going to let you change the amount of minutes that it's going to give you the out. What that means is if you set that number to 2 and it's currently 3:12, is going to add 2 minutes to the current minutes. So it's going to show 14. The reason that's there, it's in case you want to add a presentation, you can time your presentation so that you can do your dynamic out reveal with your proper timing. Of course, if you don't want to enable minutes, you can just disable this in the settings and you won't have these dynamic outs available to you. Also, by having the enable playing cards turned on, you'll have different options in which you can get their selected card to be spelled. All you have to do is turn on the ones you want to use and turn off the ones you want to disable. For instance, if you want to enable 2 spades, but not 2 spade without the S, you just turn that one off and then it will never show up for you. Moving on to the dates, it may seem slightly complicated, but the second I tell you, you're instantly going to know. And it's this equation that you see here. You'll see that it says MM plus DD plus y plus y plus y plus y, and everything is in parentheses. All that means is add the month to the day and then add the digits of the year individually. If we were doing March 3rd, we know that March is the third month. It's also the third day, so we're gonna add 3 plus 3, we get 6, and then the year we're gonna add 2 plus 0 plus 2, that's 4, plus another 2, that's 6. We're gonna get a total of 12. And it's as simple as that. You, of course, don't have to do the math to your spectators or tell them that they have to do the math. A simple way in which you could perform this could be, if we had done this on any other day, this would not have worked. So let's put in the day. What month is today? So it would be March. So deal 3 cards, because that's the third month. So they would deal 3 cards. And what day is it today? They're gonna say it's the third, so deal another 3 cards. You see now how we're adding those cards and those values without really doing math per se. And then we tell them, well, we can't really deal 2022 because there's not that many cards in the deck. So let's do 2 for the 2000, 2 for the 20, and 2 for the last 2. So we're basically just adding those last digits together. And again, we're just building it up, making it seem like if we had done this in any other day, month, year, if they had shuffled the cards any other way, it would not have worked. So keep that in mind. You don't have to do the whole math all at once. You can break it up little by little as you have them deal pieces of the date until you get to your final reveal. Of course, even easier than that is going to be spelling the day, which is just Wednesday, Tuesday, or Monday, or whichever current month you're currently living in, which might be July, June, September, who knows. But all you have to do is just spell that month or day, and the card will be there. So as you can see, having these dynamic outs enabled is going to allow you to use the current time, the date, or the card that they selected to use it as an impossible reveal.